Hello, welcome back. What I thought I would do, is kind of an idea that came to me, is that I am going to be putting out some videos, just me demonstrating photo editing. I'm going to take some images of my own and edit them and just throw it up here. I suppose one day this maybe will be a live stream or something. It's not something I ever thought about getting into. I don't necessarily know if people are going to want to watch me editing photos or not, talking about it, but I thought I would do it in this format first, and depending on how it goes, I'll maybe put a few of them up, and maybe we can see if it becomes something that people are interested in. Maybe eventually we get something where people submit images and I can edit them the way I would do it, and then people could then have it as a comparison, or vice versa. Maybe someday we'll be sharing images to each other and playing around with it that way. I'm not a professional photographer. I'm not a professional Corel Aftershot. Do they even have ambassadors or whatever? I'm just a dude in an office who likes to edit things, and I definitely love photography. So I go out on my motorcycle and stop and shoot pictures all the time, all over the place. So anyway, I did cover briefly some of these, a couple of these images in a tutorial that is actually currently uploading. It's 1 hour, 6 minutes left. So I did a sharpening video to go over the sharpening tool a bit. So if you've seen that video by the time you've seen this video, which obviously you will, well, maybe not obviously, then you're going to look at this and go, hey, that looks just like that other image. And it may not be the exact one, but they're definitely close. So I thought I would just grab a couple and fart around with it a bit. I always enjoy going back to images and re-editing them. And what I've done is I've taken a copy of the image. So I have an image, I hit the insert key on my keyboard to make a copy, and then I hit reset all, and it brings it back. Let me make it larger to basically the raw file. And this is I find it funny. This is what my camera saw, kind of blah. But when I was shooting the image, I actually had my camera set to monochrome, so I got to see it in black and white, and with a bit of contrast added. And so that's what drew me to this image, was not so much what you just saw, this thing. I knew that it was going to look like this more, but I also was definitely had in mind that these were going to be 16 by 9. So what I'm going to do is crop this straight off the bat to get rid of the sky, because that's nothing up there. And in this case, in my mind, I've got two versions for this. One is to include a little bit of this foreground, and the other will be to get rid of that, like actually maybe come in much higher. So I'll do the edit on here first, and then maybe we can make a copy and then recrop it just to see what we think. So already, to me, that's a better image. There's still a little bit of this cropping in there. So let's whack that out right away. I could probably just use the round. So doing a little clone action, and I typically don't get too bothered when I'm just checking it out. Just give it. I always love how well that works. If you don't tell people, they're never going to know. That's the way to do it. All right. So back to make sure I'm on the main. I don't know if you've ever played with this before, but if you're stuck on a layer and you start making adjustments, you're like, what the hell? My adjustments aren't working. I definitely need to make this darker. I don't need to make everything darker. So what I'm going to do, so you could go to the color and start playing with the levels and curves here. If I just drag this over, for example, that's actually not bad. And let's see. I definitely like how light that is. I mean, there's a bit of a spike. I mean, W. So that's all blown out black. That's fine. Aha. So in here, we've got a little bit of a loss of detail. Do I care? Probably not. Oftentimes, it comes down to what you're doing with the image. Obviously, if it's a commercial gig, you got to care. Or if you're going to be printing it big and putting it on the wall in a gallery or something, then you care. But if you're just doing an image for a wallpaper on your computer, it's like, eh. But I try not to be that callous about it and try to care more. So what I'm going to do, though, is I'm actually going to lower the exposure and then play with the highlights until those go away. There we go. Perfect. W again, because again, I don't really care about crushing blacks. My general type of the way I like shooting, or images that draw my attention, tend to be higher contrast. And I know that we're all kind of drawn to light things. That's why people love sunset images, or the light at the end of the tunnel. We're definitely drawn to that light thing. It sort of gives us hope, or whatever it is. We're safe, I guess. Sort of a evolutionary mindset. Darkness bad, light is good. There you go. But for me, I don't mind these being super dark. However, I think I do mind today. So I'm going to lower the exposure even more. Just a touch. No. I want the midtones to go dark. So here's what I'm going to do. I have installed this little plugin. If you haven't played with it, I recommend. I think it's free, maybe. If not, it's $5 or something. The BEZ V1.01. No idea if there's an update to it or not. The thing I like about this is not this color stuff here. I mean, some of it's kind of cool. You play with it, it's kind of neat. It's this here. This is actually a curves adjustment, but you do it via slider and very precisely. So instead of here, where you start to, you can just grab the curve and do this, and that gets you some pretty dramatic and good results pretty quickly. Not too bad right off the bat. You can fart around with this. And so something like that's pretty good overall. But I'm going to do that and bring this back here and do this instead. So what I'm going to do is be specific to certain tones. I want to bring my blacks up. Hit W, boop. And so the very darkest, there we go. So that's going to leave just a faintest amount of detail in there. And again, I can, I don't know, I like the blacks because it's a bit of that scary mystery, I guess. It's like, what's in there? What's back there? Don't go back there, that kind of thing. I don't mind that in my images most of the time. But let's see here. It's kind of interesting. So that's my I don't know why they call it grays. It's essentially midtones, but maybe I have to ask the developer. That's kind of interesting. I'm going to spike these a little bit more down. Very interesting. And then do the same thing here. So you just sort of play around a little bit, see what sticks. Yeah, that's interesting. I like that. I typically save vignetting to the very end, but sometimes I will put it on and sort of get like a kind of preview it for myself, if you will. Let's do the ratio and squash that out a little bit. And let's bring her down. Doop, doop, doop. There we go. That might be a bit extreme. It's pretty cool though. I like a good vignette. I don't know, it's hard to say. It's a bit muddy down there. I guess if I had a live stream, you guys could be commenting and telling me, don't do that. All right. So that's not too bad. So, here, I've just made a few adjustments. What are we into this thing? Just a few minutes, right? And suddenly you've got something that works pretty good. Yeah, a little more moody, a little less moody. That's kind of the difference there. It's not bad. So what I'm going to do is, do I want to do any sharpening on these guys? I guess I could try it. Whoops, I already had it open. Oh man, this is going to be tedious if I do all of them. Show. Don't know if I have anything like the patience to do them all. I do know some guys. I watch some photographers, and meaning their YouTube channels, obviously, if I didn't make that clear. And they don't show it on their videos because usually it's them out in the field, you know, doing their actual shooting. So they're hiking around the countryside or whatever, and then there'll be things like discussing compositional choices, lens choices, settings. Some of them into settings more than others, but it's usually the artistic things of being out there and, you know, I'm shooting this from this angle because it gives a better representation of whatever, emphasizes this, and, you know, that hiding, you know, depending on your angle, you might hide a road that's in the background, that, you know, that kind of stuff. And then obviously you got guys who do more the tips and tricks, so they'll be discussing things like you know, techniques you can do to get different results and whatever those are. So there's, you know, obviously a variety of different YouTube channels that are out there doing it. But there's one guy, I'm not gonna call him out or anything because it's not a negative, but he talks about, again, he doesn't show the videos. I don't, you know, he doesn't have them out there, but he does talk about that. He really is into editing, and so he will actually spend like 1 to 2 hours on an image. Now, I would be definitely curious to hear from you guys about that. What do you do if you're, you know, if you're a photographer who's doing photo editing? How much time do you spend typically? I don't mean like that one time where you had that one image, but in terms of your normal daily use of the editor after doing some photography, how much do you spend on an image? Because to be honest, I've actually probably spent more time already on this than I normally do. And I think a lot of that comes down to my basic style of photography is more composition based around the light. That's sort of my main thing. Like, light is the most important thing to me. But obviously you've got to have something to photograph. You can't just photograph a light spot on the ground. So you look for, like in this case, I want the light on the trees to stand out from, say, the background. Here's a little side note tip, I don't know, whatever you want to call it. I'm not going to sharpen these in the background because I want them to look like they're in the background, right? So that's kind of one of your key things is understanding that in the foreground, things tend to be sharper than in the background. So if you're standing at a side of a road, you look down, there's a rock, and in the distance there's a mountain, your eyeball is going to naturally be able to register more detail up close than further away. And so as you go through the valley into the background, things tend to be less in focus. So people who do all that focus stacking and stuff, now that has its artistic merit and can look really darn cool. I've seen some images where you're just like, wow, this is amazing. It's not necessarily the natural state of things. So again, what works for you, do what works for you. I'm going to try clarity mode. I'm going to crank this sucker up to something. Change the radius a bit, change the edge a bit, and turn that off. Let's see what we get. Do we even notice? Off, then on. Yeah, it works. I think that works. It's maybe a little intense. Let me, well, I could adjust it here, right? Let's bring this down to 85. 80, 85. Off, on. Still gonna do this. Touch. That is working for me. Let me also add the Vigny. Yeah, sorry. Enable vignetting. Oh, see, I think I mentioned this in my last video, the one that's uploading. So nothing shows up here because I'm on the wrong layer. That's pretty common for me to do. Boop, and that looks horrible now. Bring this back out. Gosh, I don't know. You'll have to let me know in the comments. Make sure you I don't know, like trees one or trees on off, or leave a time code or something. Do you like it with no vignette or with vignette? Let's go bigger. No vignette with vignette. It's not a big difference, is it? This seems more balanced to me. Man. Like I said, I'm not doing anything on a gallery. This isn't that good of an image. It's just kind of something. It'll end up as a wallpaper on my computer. I've got, I don't know, at this point, a bunch of images in my backgrounds folder, and every half hour they swap out of my computer monitors. And it's just kind of nice having something nice to look at. So that's not bad. That's not bad. That is a simple edit job of a little tree forest scene. Anyway, let me know if you find any interested in any of this. What I'm going to do is create 2 or 3, throw them up, and let you guys tell me what you think, because that's kind of the important thing. I enjoy doing this kind of stuff, and like I said, I watch a lot of videos of people doing motorcycle trips and photography, and that's just them doing their thing while I'm watching. And I thought, well, I could do some photo editing, let people see it in action. And I don't know how much time-wise. I mean, I have 2 or 3 more images I wanted to go through, so I don't know if I probably break them up into more than one video. But if I do end up deciding to do like some kind of a live stream thing, I'll probably just do them all in one and make it kind of a bigger thing. But again, I need to get a better sense of what there's an audience for. Not that I'm trying to make full-on business decision here. I'm a web designer. That's how I make my living. I have my own little company. This is just something I do on the side. So it's more of a, what are people interested in? If they want to sit down for an hour with something to drink instead of watching Netflix, they want to watch somebody editing photos. Let me know. All right, so what I'm going to do is jump to the second image. This time around, let's go big, and then let people sign off if they don't like it. So here's an image. This was similar to what was again in the other video about sharpening as well. What I did do, this is a while back actually, is I actually had downloaded a few of the presets. This is early on. It was kind of a matter of trying to figure out what I wanted from a look viewpoint, or if there was a single look or many looks. And so I was trying some different presets to get a feel for it. And what I ended up doing is downloading I believe it was portrait. Yeah, here they are. So they have these presets. One of them is called Ominous 2, which I really like this look. And so I ended up, more or less stealing it. So one of the things, if you're not familiar, you can actually save your own presets pretty easily. So you've got the different options here of creating your own here. And so you can make a bunch of changes and then save it off as your own. So make a copy of it. So what I did, I'm going to hit reset here. What I did was I made one, and I call it Ominous 3. So it's based on Ominous 2, and then some tweaks that I like. And then from there, I almost always do some extra tweaks as well. Step 1, however, is going to be to crop. And what I've had to do with my camera is set it to 16 by 9. I shoot 16:9 a lot because, again, I want it for my computer monitor, even though the way I sort of see the world is 4:3, but I think it's in part because my camera's 4:3. And so images, I tend to fill the frame exactly the way I want them, and then all of a sudden I can't crop it to 16 by 9. So I set my camera to 16 by 9. And the thing is, the raw file is just always going to be 4:3. Do I want this in here? So here's where you start to make decisions about the gap and spacing and stuff. So you can go just the trucks like that. Try to leave a gap here. Make sure this, that's kind of cool. Let's try that. That's pretty close on the trucks. I like that. Ladder to where. It's got some questions going on. Keep a little bit of space. Yeah, that'll work. And let's just start playing around with some of these settings a little bit. It's definitely a bit bright. I need to darken this up a bit. That's already way better. I think more, yeah, see? it, I'm always very careful with my contrast because knowing human nature, I know that we tend to be drawn to things that are higher contrast. They have a certain drama to them and they enhance the colors. And it's easy to think that this is a better image when really you're just drawn to the fact that it's got higher contrast, if that makes sense. I mean, define better, right? Uh, I kind of like that a lot, actually. Actually, I kind of like it a lot, actually. Jeez Louise. Um, wow. That's not horrible. So you, yeah, wow, okay. Actually, I'm going to go here. Yeah. So here's kind of this decision, right? What mood are you looking for? You want something that looks old, derelict, sad, melancholy. Things are forgotten, which is obviously true here. I mean, just look at the subject matter, right? But still, you could decide that your mood is different. You want to emphasize something else about the scene. As much as I respect the natural look, here's what I saw, sort of documentary with minor adjustments. I mean, there's a whole crowd out there, especially with landscape photography, that's kind of their big thing is they want to represent the scene as accurately as possible. And I absolutely understand that and respect that. And most of the time for my landscape photography, I sort of stick with that. And part of the reason is I'm drawn to those scenes when I go out in nature and do stuff. And that's what I want to look at when I'm looking at my images. If it's on my computer, I want to sort of think, oh, there's the woodlands I was at last week, or here's the waterfall I saw when I went hiking, right? I don't want it to look futuristic necessarily. But when it comes to scenes like this, I'm definitely trying to evoke mood more than say, here is the scene as I saw it from standing across the road waiting for traffic to get out of my way, which is where I was actually, you can't see this, but I'm across the road next to my motorcycle. And fortunately, it was a pretty quiet area. And every now and then there'd be 3 or 4 cars to go by, and I'd just sort of wait. And one guy tried to stop, let me take a picture. I'm like, I'm kind of here for a while, dude. Thanks, though. All right, so wow, I don't know, team. I might not do much to this. Do I want to sharpen that a little? That's a tough one. I can give it a try. Like I said, it's free, so go to 2. Let's just hit the global. Definitely with the clarity mode. Wow, that's subtle. It's amazing once the computer catches up with the rendering. Sometimes you get a definitely different feel after the fact. But I don't know, there's something about this slightly softer look to these that I like. Let me adjustment layer the trucks. I think I'll whoops. Let's see. No. Okay. I can paste in on that mirror. That was probably an error. I'll just do this. Wheel down, and then wheel up. Give it a bit of a... There we go. And then I'm going to crank that a bit. That's ugly. That's definitely too much. Let's bring that way down. It might work. And then on the same adjustment layer, I'm going to add this guy right here. I Don't know if I like that or not. Hey, you know what? Same as, oh, sorry, didn't mean to yell at you. Same as before. If you let me know what you think. Give me a comment, timestamp this. Say truck sharpening, yes or no. I kind of like it. I do kind of like it. I think I'm gonna do on this side too. Let's see here, another curve. And then I can go on and off here. See, there's some, I like that too, though. That's the thing. That's got a certain mood to it. Yeah. The nice thing is because everything's on the same adjustment layer, if I make a change, it's for all of it, which is handy. Wow. All right, well, I'm going to definitely play around with those options probably forever. I don't know if you ever heard the phrase that design is never finished, it's only abandoned. And it gets applied to all the different things, like paintings are never finished, they're just abandoned or whatever. And I do find that's true. You could just spend forever making tweaks and then making more tweaks and then tweaks to tweaks, and then suddenly you're just off somewhere. You know, you never know. One of the tricks is to hit insert, make a copy, and then you can not worry about destroying your original, having to undo things. You can just delete the copy and then start over again. That's handy. And then the other thing I'm going to do here is I like this look, but I also like these individual trucks. So I'm going to copy, right click. Whoop, you need to get out of the way. Go to main. Go on. And edit. And then, sorry. Copy image settings. I don't know what I was thinking, just copy. So copy image settings, and then I'm going to go here. Now it's going to copy like all of it, so I'm going to have to undo some of it. And so I'm going to do the 1x1 square, which is what I prefer for this guy. And now I've got a theme going, right? All my images from, say, this specific area or the scene or whatever have been or will be the same or similar. And obviously you can get in and individually tweak stuff. Do the same thing on this one. Paste again. I love that gritty look. I like the fence in the background too. It's a little bit of, you're looking like, is there something back there? I had one image I shot and hadn't seen that through the window there was like a doll or something, and when you look at the image later, you're like, what the hell's back there? There we go. Yeah. Anyway, what do you think? Let me know in the comments below. Good, bad, and different. Very, very cool. Anyway, I'm going to just leave it there, I think. We've been on here for a little while. 20 minutes or 30 minutes or something. I probably lose track of time very easily. Let me know if you're interested in this sort of thing. I'm probably going to, like I said, I'm probably going to do a few, and I'll let the market decide what they think of it. I enjoy throwing this information out there and giving people tips and tricks and learning a little bit more about the tool, in this case Corel Aftershot, but also just the techniques that you'd use to decide if you're going to crop this. In this case, square gives you one look, but we could do 4x5, which is another one of my favorites, in part because most of the frames that you're going to go buy at your local store are going to have a mat that'll fit. So that's, partly that's economic, but it's also just a great look. I mean, this, definitely enjoy that quite a bit. So, you know, playing with the crop. Yeah. What was I just saying about design and being abandoned? Never finished. Yeah, just look at that. Oh, love these details. That is awesome. Very cool. Yeah, so anyway, I think I'm done. I'm going to wrap this up. And if you have any comments, don't hesitate to let me know. Sorry, I'm just going to keep poking at this until I run out of... Oh, see? All right. All right, I think that'll work. That's all I got. Talk to you later.